Hi, this is Jane at Green Side Up. Have you ever been perplexed? I mean totally perplexed by all the products on the market that say plant food or fertilizer. What in the world are you supposed to feed your plants? How do you know which one of these is good? How do you know which one is the perfect one for your plants, your garden? We're going to talk about it just a little bit today, and I'm going to tell you this is a subject that when I started researching it, it's like, oh my goodness, how am I going to, I'm sorry, dumb it down enough that you guys can understand. Mostly, how can I dumb it down enough for me to understand? So we're going to do kind of a quick overview of things. It's not going to be in detail because, yeah, it just isn't. But I hope that at the end of this video, you will be able to understand just a little bit plant food versus fertilizers and what you need for your plants. When you go to the store and you're looking for fertilizers or plant food, like I said, you're going to see all these things on the shelf. So for instance, this particular bag says it is a fertilizer. This bag says it is a garden food or a plant food. Plant food and fertilizer, the names are sometimes used kind of interchangeably, but in reality, a plant food is what the plant naturally makes after it has been given some fertilizer or some type of nutrients. So I'm going to talk about fertilizers and additives to your soil, and then I'm going to talk about how the plant will use those additives to make its own plant food. Don't worry about what the bags say. And truthfully, in the end of all of it, it's more important that you are giving your plants something than nothing at all. So fertilizers and plant foods have certain nutrients that our plants need. Just like we have nutrients that we need in order to grow, so it is with your plants. So for instance, this says this is an organic grow. This is organic for organic gardening. It has a 222 numbers. I'm sure you maybe have seen that. This bag over here has a 10-10-10. Those numbers do mean something. So we're going to talk about that. The first number, in this case a 2, is the nitrogen. Nitrogen is needed by all plants in order to help them to grow healthy and to grow their lush green leaves. So nitrogen, N, that's from the periodic table, by the way, these letters that you get. So the N for nitrogen means that is going to help your plants to grow lush and green. Okay? The second letter on this particular one is also a 2. And the 2 on this one is for phosphorus, which is a P. The phosphorus is used for plants that need to make blooms or need to make fruit. So for instance, if you want a plant to make flowers, you're going to make sure that this middle number, the phosphorus, is a little bit bigger. It's going to push out those blooms on that plant. The third number on this particular one is also a 2, and that one is potassium, which is a K. Never could figure that one out. But anyway, potassium, periodic table, it's a K. A potassium increases your plant's resistance to stress, and it helps it to produce sturdy roots. Roots on a plant are extremely important. You need a good root system to have a healthy plant. So that third number, the potassium, is also a very important number to have. We talked about the NPK. That's the major nutrients, called macronutrients. There's also what's called a micronutrient. Micronutrients are also needed by the plant. Just as, for instance, in our bodies, we have micronutrients in our bloodstream and everywhere that we need in order to survive. So it is the same with plants. So for instance, on this particular bottle, this is going to provide these micronutrients. Let me see. Calcium, boron, cobalt, copper, manganese, iron, molybdenum, zinc, and some chelated copper. Those are all tiny little nutrients, that are needed by the plant to stay healthy. So I've talked about the numbers on the bottles, on the bags. There is a link on your video there. If you go to that link, it will explain what those numbers mean, so I'm not going to get into details about that. Also, plant food. So I've talked about fertilizers and plant food being interchanged, but actually plants make their own food. You supply the nutrients to the ground. The plant then is able to take those nutrients up into its root system. It also uses the sun, the air, water, carbon dioxide. It mixes all this stuff together, and I don't know, kind of magically, I guess, it transforms those nutrients that you put into the ground into food that it can use to grow. Don't ask me exactly how all that happens, but it does. And it's amazing. You've probably heard about organic versus inorganic. Organic means that it is from natural resources in nature. So for instance, alfalfa meal. This is made from alfalfa. You might hear about, for instance, cow manure, sheep manure, chicken manure, bat guano. Those are poop from those animals. It's a natural occurring thing. Fertilizers, on the other hand, are manufactured. They are made from chemicals that do not come right out of nature. There are very good fertilizers that you can use, and sometimes you may want to use a fertilizer versus an inorganic. Especially if you're working with houseplants, a lot of times those are going to be fertilizers versus the inorganic ones because they just work better with the houseplants. So that's kind of the difference between the organic and inorganic. There's a place for both of them, and what you choose to use is kind of up to you. I hope that this has been helpful for you, trying to kind of sort out what kind of fertilizers or plant foods you want to use for your plants. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you have any ideas of what we can do videos on, because we kind of start to run out of ideas, please also leave those in the comment section. This is Jane with Green Side Up, wishing you a very happy day.